Your sister Rachel needs the space more than you do, Mom declared, swiftly packing my belongings into cardboard boxes. She's about to start her residency at Metropolitan Hospital, a demanding career that requires proper rest. I stood in the doorway of what had been my bedroom for 25 years, watching them turn it into Rachel's new sanctuary. Already my shelves were filling with medical textbooks, and her designer clothes hung in my closet. Where am I supposed to go? I asked, though I already knew the answer. They had plans I was deliberately excluded from. Dad, not even looking up from installing Rachel's new desk, shrugged. You can sleep on the couch, he said. Or better yet, get a real job and move out. Playing with computers in your room isn't a career. If they'd bothered to look closer at those computers, they might have noticed I was running a multi-million-dollar tech company from that very desk they were discarding. 3 years of late nights, coding into dawn, building something revolutionary, while they boasted about Rachel's achievements in medical school at every family dinner. Mom kept dropping my coding books into donation boxes, insisting Rachel needed to focus on her future. She's going to be a surgeon, Mom said firmly. What are you doing? I grabbed my laptop bag. Making websites, I replied softly. That was the only thing that mattered. Everything else was replaceable, something like that. Even they couldn't explain it properly. Mom shook her head. Rachel has a clear path. He's going to save lives. You're just wasting your time. Little did they know my so-called wasted time had just closed a deal that would change everything. The papers had been signed the day before. I was now the owner of the city's most prestigious building, Metropolitan Tower. It was the same building where Dad's law firm rented 3 floors, and coincidentally, where Rachel would soon be working in the hospital's administrative offices. I decided to leave that evening quietly. I'll be out by tonight, I said. Dad looked up. The law firm's always hiring paralegals, he offered. Not as glamorous as being a doctor, but it's a real job. I didn't respond. My phone buzzed, an alert from my COO. Security protocols updated. Everything's ready at the new office. When should we announce? I quickly typed back. Give me 2 weeks. Perfect timing for Rachel's first day. That evening, I watched from my car as they helped Rachel move in, carrying her boxes into what was once my space. Mom was practically glowing with pride, whispering to neighbors about her daughter, the future doctor. They didn't even notice when I drove away, heading toward my new penthouse office at the top of Metropolitan Tower, overlooking a city I now controlled. 2 weeks flew by. I spent every morning watching the city move below through my floor-to-ceiling windows. Dad's car pulled into his reserved law firm's spot daily, and soon, Rachel would join the stream of professionals entering my building. The night before her first day, I received a text from my COO. New security protocols active. All tenants must update their passes. Your family's firms haven't responded. I smiled and replied, tomorrow. That night Mom called, first time since they'd kicked me out. Rachel starts her new job tomorrow at Metropolitan Tower. Isn't that amazing? Maybe you could come see her office if you get a real job. I nodded calm. Of course. I said softly. Don't worry, Mom. I have a feeling I'll be seeing her office very soon. The next morning I watched the chaos unfold on the security feeds. Dad was waving his old access card at the new terminals, frustration mounting as his face reddened. Rachel stood beside him in her pristine white coat, increasingly panicked as her first day was delayed. What do you mean access is denied? Dad yelled at the security guard. I've been a tenant here for 15 years. The guard remained calm. Sir, all access cards needed to be updated last week. Notices were sent out repeatedly. Do you know who I am? I'm James Wilson of Wilson and Partners Law, Dad snapped. Mom, who'd come along to document the moment for social media, stepped forward. This is ridiculous. My daughter's starting her residency today. She can't be late. I understand, the guard replied, but I need authorization from Madam Owner. Rachel checked her watch nervously. Call her, she demanded. I already did, the guard said, glancing at the private elevator. Only I could access it. She's on her way down. I stepped out of the elevator, dressed sharply in a Chanel suit that cost more than Dad's monthly rent. The lobby fell silent as I approached. My heels clicked on the marble floor. Access issues? I asked softly. Mom's phone slipped from her hands. Dad's jaw dropped. Rachel's professional composure cracked. Sarah, Mom whispered. Actually, it's Ms. Wilson, I corrected her, or Madam Owner as the staff prefer. Dad stammered. You make websites. I gestured to the security monitor. Please pull up the ownership documents. The screen lit up with my acquisition papers. My signature at the bottom of a multi-billion-dollar deal. They were websites you never bothered to look at, I said, turning back to my stunned family. They revolutionized building management systems. Every major property management company in the country uses them, including this building which I bought from the previous owners. Rachel found her voice first. But my job, the hospital, that's still yours, she said. I smiled. Unlike some people, I don't believe in throwing family members out when it's inconvenient. I gave Mom a pointed look. But there are some new terms we need to discuss. I signaled to my assistant, who handed me 3 folders. Your new lease agreements, Dad. Your firm's rent will now reflect the market rate. No more discounts. Rachel, I continued, the hospital lease includes a clause about mandatory tech training. And Mom, I added, smiling again, you'll need to schedule an appointment if you want to visit. No more unauthorized social media photos in my lobby. Mom's protests echoed as I calmly concluded, actually, I can do this, just like I could throw you out of your room. Property ownership. Fascinating, isn't it? I turned to the security guard. Issue them temporary passes for today. Their permanent access will be granted once they've signed the new agreements and completed the necessary orientations. As they clutched their temporary badges, I overheard Mom mutter, I don't understand. You were nothing. Just playing with computers in your room. No, Mom, I replied. I was building an empire. You just couldn't see it because it didn't fit your idea of success. I checked my watch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting to attend in my building. A month later, I sat in my penthouse office, reviewing the latest tenant reports. My old law firm had quietly signed a new lease, tripling their previous rent. Rachel had finally completed her mandatory tech training, though she'd failed twice before passing. Mom had tried sneaking into the building 4 times for social media photos before she accepted that she needed proper approval. My intercom buzzed. Miss Wilson, your family is here for the requested meeting. Send them in. They entered like chastened children. Dad without his usual legal bluster, Rachel missing her confident smirk, and Mom clutching her designer bag like a shield. Behind me, the city stretched out through floor-to-ceiling windows, an unmissable reminder of who owned what now. Please have a seat, I gestured to the chairs facing my desk. We need to discuss some changes. More rent increases? Dad asked nervously. I pulled out 3 folders. Actually, these are about my old room. Mom straightened defensively. Rachel needs that space for her residency, she said. Let me stop you right there, I interrupted, opening the first folder. These are photos taken yesterday of that very room. Rachel isn't using it for rest or study. It's become her social media studio for her influencer videos. Rachel's face flushed. How did you? I've monitored everything, I said calmly. Just like I monitor every square foot of this building. I turned to the second folder. Here are her actual working hours. According to hospital records, she spends more time taking Instagram photos in the hospital wing than attending to patients. Rachel protested, You can't access those records. I own the building, Rachel. All security feeds, access logs, you name it, I replied. I opened the third folder. And Mom's social media empire? Built on sneaking into my building for photo ops? It's all run on servers I own. I've seen everything. They looked at me in stunned silence. The truth, I said softly, is I've always wanted respect, recognition, and a family that sees me for who I am, not who they wanted me to be. I stepped toward the window. You kicked me out because Rachel needed space. Now let's talk about what everyone really needs. I pressed a button. The wall screen lit up with charts and graphs. Dad, your law firm's billable hours are down 40% since last month. Want to know why? Your outdated systems are costing you clients. Rachel, your patient satisfaction scores are the lowest in the hospital, probably because you're too busy TikTok and G to care for patients. Turning to Mom, I continued, your social media influence depends entirely on access to this building. Access you no longer have. Rachel whispered, Are you going to kick us out? No, I replied. Unlike you, I understand the difference between property and power. I handed each of them a document. These are your choices. They read silently. Dad was the first to speak. You want us to convert my firm to your tech systems? A full digital overhaul. Your choice. Evolve or become obsolete. Rachel looked at her paper. Mandatory patient care hours, social media restrictions. Be a doctor first, influencer second. That's what the hospital space is for, right? Mom's hands trembled as she read hers. Building access only for legitimate business. No more unauthorized photos. No more pretending you own the place. And as for my room, she hesitated. Convert it back to a home office within 48 hours, or I'll raise the hospital wing's rent by 200%. I smiled. Your choice. They sat in silence, finally grasping the new power dynamic. One more thing, I pressed another button. The screens displayed their social media accounts. Every post mocking my computer hobby, every comment about my wasting my life, every family photo cropped to exclude me. I've kept them all, I said. Think carefully about your next move. Dad signed first. Then Rachel. Mom hesitated but eventually added her signature. Welcome to the digital age, I said, collecting the signed documents. Where real success isn't measured in square footage or followers but in impact. As they left, I called out, "Oh, and Mom, next time you want to post about your successful daughters, make sure you mention both of us. After all, I own the platforms you post on too." The door closed behind them and I turned back to my city view. Sometimes the best room isn't the one you're kicked out of. It's the one you build yourself. 50 stories above those who underestimated you.